Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, the XCN family killed it. You guys killed it. Well, you guys killed it with the views, the likes, the comments, the support, the subscribers. So, you know what? We are going to be practically posting this coin every single day, or at least 5 to 6 times a week, because you guys killed it. You guys killed it. You guys proved it. You guys showed that you guys wanted more. And I said, all right, bet. You know, yesterday we didn't really upload because, ladies and gentlemen, we did have to do stuff in real life. But look, we are back. We are back. So we can see, right? There is actually an update coming. So the Onyx V2 is coming, right? Pretty much Onyx launch aims to meet the highest compliance standards under the upcoming US Clarity Act, positioning XCN as a digital token with a mature blockchain system, right? So, you know what? They are pack-a-punching. This is what we like to see. And we can also see, ladies and gentlemen, right? We are almost at 63,000 followers on Twitter, right? And you can see the posts get a good amount of views for actually the amount of, followers they do have. Okay, they get anywhere from 10,000 to even 30,000 for some of them, which is what we love to see. But look, ladies and gentlemen, right, we are going to be mainly talking about the technical analysis because we are actually in a very, very critical area. Okay, we're at a very extremely critical area. Look, as of right now, at this current moment, this is not the healthiest price action on the monthly. Okay, why? Because we do have this high over here, right, on the monthly, and as of right now we are looking like a big rejection. But remember, things can change. There's still roughly a week left in July and a lot can change. Okay, but look, even on the weekly, right, we know that we have been creating consistent higher lows, right? We practically have a low over here and then we have a higher low over here on the weekly, and guess what, another higher low. Okay, but the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, we failed to take this high over here, right? We failed to take this high over here in terms of creating a higher high. And we're kind of in a stalemate, right? We're actually in a very, very important area. We're kind of in a stalemate. And we can see that last time we started to reject a lot, we sold off a decent amount. Now, I personally do not want that to happen, right? I don't really want to start rejecting here and then selling off further down here, because this would just delay the inevitable. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little bit done with this crypto market. I don't mind within the next, let's say 3 to 6 months max, things just kind of wrap up, right? For me, when a coin goes down, it's not that, I'm saying, oh no, I'm scared or something, but I just do know it means usually the progress and the process will take a couple of weeks more, right? However, ladies and gentlemen, right, there could be a strong case where we are actually in a very similar scenario as this over here, right? Kind of like this scenario over here, boom and boom. Okay, right over here, perfect. Okay, because this kind of went from the accumulation to kind of slowly building up with having certain types of dips, but ultimately at the end of the day, they exploded. And you also have to realize that, even here, this was kind of a double top and it was creating higher lows. But it is kind of similar in a aspect because we are creating higher lows consistently, but also creating lower highs. Boom, right over here. So we have to make a choice, right? We have to make a choice. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to explode? Now, I think in general this week for many cryptos, including XCN, this is like a pullback week, right? We talked about it with different coins. We talked about it with Turbo. We talked about it with, a bunch of different coins saying, we kind of expected some type of pullback, okay? And that is exactly what we have been getting. Now, here's the thing. We had something very, very similar in June where we were pulling back and it didn't look the healthiest, right? The June candle didn't look the healthiest until roughly the last 10 days, the last week or so. So I kind of expect the same thing to happen, right? As long as we kind of close just above 1.4 cents, even if we close somewhere over here, this is going to be fine because there's a high chance and probability that we will be looking to try to smash this zone over here and go up higher, okay? Because we are getting squished and XCN does have to decide, is it going to go lower or is it going to go higher? Now, in the event where, let's just say we do pull up and then we fail again, I do think if anything, there was going to be a fake out and then a quick recovery to then go up higher. You have to realize the markets are overall very, very bullish, right? Bitcoin is kind of lingering around 118,000, right? And I expect Bitcoin to just generally be around this area. Now, we do have a gap at 114,000 for Bitcoin, right? If we actually go look over here, boom, right? We have a gap. So I do expect Bitcoin to be going overall up, but I do probably think that this gap will get filled first and then we are going to go up. So a mini fake out could be on the way. Okay. A mini fake out could be on the way for something like even like Onyxcoin. So I just want to warn you guys, right? If we all of a sudden see like a minus 20% week, don't worry, right? And I'm not saying it's going to happen this week. I'm not saying it's going to happen next week, but within the next, let's say 2 to 3 weeks, if we see a big dip, a big fall, then just do not get scared because we are still bullish on everything on the higher time frame. We also see something like Bitcoin dominance has been recovering, right? And we know when Bitcoin dominance starts recovering, usually altcoins start to struggle a little bit. Now, that doesn't mean automatically that it's over, right? It doesn't mean, because the thing is, this can still go up to 70%, okay? And I'm gonna give you a very simple example. If there is $1 million in crypto, okay, and let's say there's 50% dominance, that means there's 500K in Bitcoin and 500K in other coins, okay? Now, let's say the dominance is 70%, but there's 10 million in crypto. That's 7 million in Bitcoin, 3 million in altcoins. So it's still better, right? It's still better. The main thing we're going to be looking for something like Onyxcoin, ladies and gentlemen, right, other than the structure itself, is to see how the global liquidity is going to be holding. Now, we do expect a little bit of some type of pullback, okay, because we did burst through. Now we're looking to kind of make this the new floor. And once we confirm this is the floor, the amount of money that should be getting pumped in these markets are going to be crazy. Like, we should double, right, in market cap within even a few short months, okay? So things are going to be crazy. Things are going to be looking good, all right? So do not worry, right? Do not worry. Yes, right now it does look a little scary, even on the daily, right? It's a very, very aggressive sell-off, but I wouldn't worry too much, because in the event where we do go into a mode where we do have to go, you know, up a little bit, but then we ultimately end up going lower to get a bigger correction, right? This is just going to be more buying opportunities. And ladies and gentlemen, it just means your altcoins are going to be pumping harder, okay? Some people want altcoin season to start now. Let's say Bitcoin topped at around 120K. You have altcoin season that's going to start, and let's say everything peaks within 3 months. Sounds fantastic, right? Sounds fantastic. And something like Onyxcoin, right? We talked about it. It can go up a good amount, right? For me, Onyxcoin should be one of those projects that hit at least 10 billion market cap at the bare minimum. So right now, if we're looking at it, it would be roughly a 20x, okay? Which would be roughly 30 cents. Okay, but think about it this way, right? If we are a little bit more patient and Bitcoin says, you know what, I'm not done here. Let me go up to 150, 170K, and then we top out, right? Imagine Onyxcoin pumping an extra 30% during altcoin season, extra 40%, extra 50%. Would you guys not prefer that, right? Even if you had to wait, what, maybe another 3 more months, right? Just something to consider. But I know a lot of us are getting impatient, and, you know, I'm slowly getting impatient too, because I'm ready to really change my life. I know you guys are too. We're all excited. We're all excited, right? But think about it. You know, if Bitcoin pumps up higher, Bitcoin dominance goes higher, when these things start slamming and the shift goes into altcoins, the shift goes into something like Onyxcoin, you know, that could be the difference between 10 billion market cap and 13 billion and 15 billion and 17 billion, right? Just because of the amount of money there's going to be, just because of the amount of dominance that goes down. So just something to think about. But yeah, that is ultimately it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.